Hello everybody! Welcome to another video from Code Shots with Profanis. Very often we need to apply a communication between our components. Some of them have a parent-child association and some are just siblings who need to communicate. In this video, we will see how to apply a component communication using the input-output decorators, how to have a template-only communication using a template reference variable, how to apply a communication using streams from a custom service, and last but not least, how to apply a communication using the ViewChildren. Till the end of this video, you will learn how to use all of these techniques. So, let's get started. I have prepared this page where we can see that we have a list of products. Here we have the product A, product B, and product C. If we see the code that we have, this is based on mock data where we have 3 different products based on the product type. And in the HTML, we have a math card where we are iterating over a product array. And here what we have is the product title, product subtitle, the product price, and then we have some actions here where I currently do not have an implementation, but we will do so later on. And here we decrease the counter and then we increase the counter. And here we also have the product description. Currently this code is based on the products component HTML, but chances are that while the application grows, someone else might need also to have this product card. So how about get this code and refactor it and create another component, the product card component. So this is the code that I currently have and it is empty, and let's keep it side by side. And at first let's grab all the code from the products component and move it here. The product card component is responsible to represent only one product, so we do not need to have this iteration here. And also let's try to fix these errors here, and we definitely need to import some modules. So we need to have the math card module and the math button module. So let's go into the source code and have them here. Nice. So let's go back to the HTML. As we can see, we no longer have this error message, but what we can see is that we have an error into the product. And of course we do have an error here, and the reason is that this component is currently unaware of the product. So we need somehow to introduce to this component this product. Before we do so, let's try to do something else. Here we have the product card component, and we need to use this component, specifically the selector, into this HTML. So we will replace this code with this selector. At first, let's grab the class name and go into the imports and use it here. And I will replace the previous modules. We no longer need them. And then we need to have the app product card. And you know what? Let's replace everything here. And I want to have the product card 3 times. So I will have here the ng4 let product of products. Now somehow I need to provide this product here into the children component. To do so, I will introduce into the product card component the input, and I will name it product. And this is of type product. By introducing here the product means that the children component can now accept a product item, and we can provide it by using a property binding from the parent component. And this product should go here as a name. So it can be like the product equals, now we have here to provide this product. And you know what, let's change the name in order not to confuse with the same name. So what we're doing now is that whenever we are generating this product card, we are providing this product, and this product is the item of each iteration. And if we now check the product card component HTML, we see that we have this kind of error message, and this is because the object is possibly undefined. To fix this, we can add the Elvis operator here. Nice, so the child component seems ready. And whenever we say that we have a parent-child communication, we mean that a parent component, in our case this is the products component, nests another component. And in this case, this is the product card. So we have the parent and the child component. Let's now go to the browser to see what we have. And it seems that everything works well. We have three different products here, which is exactly what we expected to have. Please note now that the communication that we currently have achieved is from the parent to the child component. This is just one-way communication, which means that we're providing a product to the child component. How about now if I want somehow to notify the parent component that something happened? The way that we are communicating between DOM elements is by events. Something similar is happening with a button, right? So we have the button and then we have the click event. In the similar way, we can utilize the events here. So I will create an event and I will name it increase, and I will initialize it equals new event emitter. Please note that you have to pick the event emitter from Angular core in case you have more than one event emitters. And let's also create one more and I will name it decrease. So the child component supports two events, the increase and the decrease. Let's now try to use these methods and I will do the following. Here we have the click and this is for the decrease. So I will name this decrease handler. And also this is for increase and I will name it increase handler. Increase handler. Nice. So let's now create these methods. I have the decrease handler and I will also have the increase handler. Let's say now that I have here a counter and I will initialize it to 0, and whenever I decrease, I want my count to be like this, and whenever I increase, I want my count to be like this. And not only I want to increase the counter, I will also want to notify any other parent component, any other component that uses the product card. And how can I do so? Via these event emitters. So whenever we invoke the increase handler, I can be like, I want to emit an event. Which event? The increase. And I have to use the emit method as well. Whenever you use the emit event, at that point we emit this event. And let's do the same here. So we had the increase and here we need to have also the decrease. So how can we use this now? Let's close the product card component and now let's focus into the products component. As said, we can use the events in the similar way we are doing with the native elements. Like for example, we have the button where we have a click and then we have a click handler. In the similar way, we have now two events, the decrease and increase. In the decrease, we can do something. We can have here my decrease handler, and on the increase, we can be like, I want here to have my increase handler. Let's save and let's now open this. Let's have them side by side and create these methods. My decrease handler will go here and also my increase handler. For now, let's have only a console log, which be like decrease, and one more console log here, which be like increase. Let's go to the browser to see what we have. If we open the developer tools and we start interacting with these buttons with the plus and the minus, we can see in the developer tools that we have the messages. We have the increase and we also have the decrease. This seems to work just fine, but the confusion here is that we do not know which product we increased and which product we decreased. We need to know the parent component, the products component needs to know which product has been increased or decreased. So we have to provide some event arguments. The event emitter is a generic type, and we can say that I'm going to emit something of type, the argument I mean, of type product. And the same goes here. Whenever we emit the event, we can provide also the product, this dot product, and this will be our event argument. Again, let's close the product card and let's focus into the decrease handler and increase handler. These methods should know now the event arguments. To grab the event arguments, we use the $event. This is a convention by Angular. This is how it works. And we know that the event is of type product. So let's go to this method, my decrease handler. And here we can be like, I have my product, which is of type product. And the same here. And now we can provide the product into the console just to know which one has been increased or decreased. Now let's go again to the browser to see what we have. And if I increase the product A, we can see here we have an increase of product A. Nice. And if we scroll down and decrease the product C, we can see that we have decrease and product C. And in this way, we managed to accomplish a communication between the product, which is the parent, and the child, which is the product card. In the same way, when we have a communication, perhaps we want to manipulate the data before even we provide them into the HTML. So for example, let's say that if the price is 100, I want automatically to make it 1000, just a random example. So how can we interfere in this flow? This input, we can convert it to a setter, and I will be like, I want the set to be a value, and I know that this is going to be of type product, and I also want to have here a product, and this is going to return this dot underscore product. So currently we don't have this, so let's create it, and here I will have my private product of product. And let's also have this like this, union type undefined, and we know that this product perhaps will return either a product or an undefined. Let's fix this as well. And let's assign this product equals to value. Before doing anything here, let's first see if everything works correct. And here we can see that we have the product A, the product B, and the product C. Everything seems to work just fine. And now we can have a condition here. If my value dot price, or you know what, let's change this. If my value title equals to something, I want the value title to be something else. The point that I want to make here is that using a getter and a setter into the input, we can interfere into the flow and we can change the provided value. So now we have this product equals to value. Let's see what we have currently, and everything that seems to work just fine. And let's change the values. So let's go to the products component and change this one, the product A, and I will have it to something. Now, what we can see here is that we have something else. So in this way, we can say that we closed the cycle of how to communicate a parent and a child component. Let's now focus on another way, and this is a template reference variable. So let's now say that we're going to create another component, and this is going to be our basket. So ngGC, I want under my components to create a component with name basket. I want this to be a standalone, and I want also for now to skip the tests. I know that this is not a good practice, this is only for the presentation. Let's now go here into the basket, and I will do the following. I will create two different methods. The first method will be the by all, And let's say that I have here a console log by all, and also I want to be like clear all. And again, I want to have a console log clear all. Let's grab the basket component and let's go to the products component HTML into the source code and import it here. So we have the basket component. And let's also now grab the selector, the app basket, and have this on top of the product card, on top of the iteration of product cards. So here I have my app basket. We know now that the app basket, the basket component, has two different methods. The first one buys everything and the other one clears everything. We can create a template reference variable where we can define whatever name we wish, let's say basket or whatever. And this template reference variable, the access of this is only into this template. This is limited to this template, and this is actually the instance of the basket component as we can see here in the tooltip. I can create a button, and into the click event, I want to buy all, and the message will be buy all. And let's duplicate this, and this message will be clear all. Clear all. Nice. So we have the basket buy all and the basket clear all. And as said, this is the instance of the basket component. So let's go to the browser to see what we have. But at first, let's have here just a horizontal ruler. And here what we can see is that we have two different buttons, the buy all, and if I click this, we can see the message buy all and clear all respectively. So this is very useful whenever we want to have information only into the template. Another way of communicating is by using the ViewChildren. We're going to do the following. We're going to have access of the product card components inside the products component source code, the TS. So we have the product card and we have also the products component. And we want this guy, this component, to have a knowledge of all of these components of the product card. How can we do this? So we will use the ViewChildren. So let's be like, I'm going to have the ViewChildren, and inside the parentheses, we can provide the selector of type string, a function, a provider token, and what I'm going to have here is the class name of the product card component. So here I have my product card component, and I know that this is a list of product card components. So I will have a name something like this, products, product cards. And this is of type query list. So into the query list, we have a list of items and specifically a list of product card components. This is a generic type. So we can have like product component here, product card component, or the union type undefined. What we can do with this is the following, that we can, for example, go here into my decrease handler, and let's have a condition. If I have the product cards, if my product cards are truthy, then, and since this is an array, I can use the method find, and let's be like, I want to grab the product and specifically the ID, and I want to match with the given product ID. And I know now that this is my found product. Found product. Yeah, I have a typo, equals this. And what we can do is just console log here, decrease, and I will have the found product dot count. Let's also copy this and paste it here. And instead of decrease, I will have here increase. Well, we have here the found product and here we have the found product, but you know what? This doesn't make that much sense in terms of a flow, because we already have the product, the given product here, and we have the product cards and we are finding it with the ID. Despite that this doesn't make that much sense in terms of a flow, the point that I want to make here is that we have access to all the instances of the product cards. So let's give it a try. we have the decrease, and we have the increase. Now, if I increase the button here, we can see that we have increase 1. And if I continue increasing, we can see all the buttons here. And the same goes on the other one. So here we can see that we have the increase to 1. And the reason is that this is a counter for this specific product. The ViewChildren is very useful as well, and please note that the ViewChildren and the instance of the product card specifically are accessible into this component after the AfterViewInit hook. Before the AfterViewInit hook, the product card is not yet ready. Another way of communicating between the components is by using a service. Before we dive deeper into the service, let me explain what is going on with this. So currently we have the products, which is the parent component, and then we have a child component, and we have a sibling of the products component, which is the basket. What we're going to do is to have a service here where all the components will have access to this service. And specifically, the example that we are going to follow is that this guy, which is the child component, the product card component, is going to change something into the service so that the basket can be notified. Let's do the following. I will create a service here and I will name it basket. Let's again skip the tests. And let's open the basket service. And I want the basket service to have the summary of all the products that I have. For example, if I have here 2 products and I have here 3 products, I want the basket to have 5 in total. To achieve this, we will do the following. At first, we need to have an observable source here, and also we need to have a stream. The observable source will be a private basket source equals to new subject. Or you know what? We can even use a behavior subject here. The behavior subject is a special type of subject where it's a generic type, so we can be like, this is a number and also accepts a default value. And the basket source by default is 0. This is private, which means that only the basket service will interact with the basket source. And how can we interact outside of this basket service? We will do so using a stream. So here I will have my basket dollar equals this basket source as observable. And now let's have 2 more methods here, and one will be the increase and the other one will be again the decrease. Whenever we invoke the increase method, we will use the basket source, which is the private one, and we're going to use the method next to provide a value. So let's say the number 1. But since this is an increase method, we want to know the value of the basket source and then increase it by 1. So we can be like the basket source value plus 1, and let's do the same into the decrease, but this time we will decrease it by 1. So we can now use the basket service into the product card. For example, we can go here into the constructor. I do not have a constructor. Let's create one. And I'm going to have here private, the basket service. Let's import the basket service. And now, whenever we decrease the handler, I want the basket service to decrease this as well. And whenever we increase the handler, we want to increase the service as well. What we have achieved so far is the following, that whenever we increase or decrease, we are updating the value into the service. And let's try now to use the total values into the component of the basket. I will open the basket component, and into the constructor I will have now as a public, I will have my basket service. And now let's go into the HTML, and the only thing that I will have is a basket, and in the interpolation I will have the basket service basket using the async pipe. Now let's go to the browser to see what we have, and immediately we see that we have the basket 0, which is the default value that we assigned into the behavior subject. If I increase the counter, we can see that here we have number 1, and now if I continue increasing the counters, and here as well, and here as well, we will see that here we have now 11. And if we start increasing or decreasing, the information appears here. So what we managed to do now is the following. Let's go to the products component, which is the parent component, and here we have the basket. Each product card has a reference of the basket service, and whenever we increase inside the product card, we are increasing the counter of the basket service. And into the basket component, you use the same instance of the basket service, and we are providing the information into the HTML using the interpolation. So, thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe and click the ring bell. See you in the next video.